When I was a young man, I used to ask my daddy for money all the time. And he would give it to me, And I remember when I got my barber's license and I got out and I started cutting hair. I didn't have any clippers. And I asked my daddy for the money to buy me some clippers. And I said, Daddy, let me make a little money and I'm going to give it back to you. And I made all the money. And it took me a long time, too. And I took it all to him. And he said, keep that money. I just want to help you, keep it. So he let me keep it, right? And finally, one time, man, I was working and I was doing okay, but the transmission went out in my wife's van, and I ain't had the money to get it fixed. So I called my daddy early one morning. I'll never forget. And this was the last time I asked him for some money. And I said, Daddy, man, I hate to do it to you, man, but I really need some money, man. He said, how much you need? And it was like $2,300. It was expensive. I had to take it to this place to get the transmission rebuilt. And I'll never forget what my daddy said to me. And this what kind of taught me that my daddy all these years had been helping me, but I never had once thought about him. My daddy said, I'm going to give you the money, but I need the money back by blah, blah, because I got to pay my bills too. And it was at that point I seen my daddy as a man, just like me, trying to make it, got his own bills, etc. And that was the last time I asked my daddy for that money. My daddy gave me that money. I paid for the transmission. And we got paid. And we gave him the money back. But it was at that moment that I actually saw my daddy as a man who was just trying to make it like me. And the thing I want to say in the video is this. If you got a father or someone who steps up and help you in your time of need, think about him too. Don't just use him as your resource, somebody you can go to when times are hard. You don't even check on him. I remember when my daddy was getting close to the end, wouldn't even hardly anybody come over there and check on him. We would be sitting on the front porch together, just kicking it, and nobody would come check on him. And he would create these things for me to do just so I could come. And I didn't realize that at first. He would ask me, I need you to put this thing on this thing. And I'd be like, all right. So our first weekend, I go over there and I put this thing on this thing. And then the next weekend, he'll be like, hey, can you come over here and do this and do that? And I'll be like, okay. So I go over there and do this and do that. But most of the time, we'll just be sitting on the front porch talking. Then finally, I realized when the light came on, he just wanted me to come over there. That was it. And he was creating all these things because I would come. He was creating all these things for me to do just to show up. So I showed up for him the same way he showed up for me. Anytime I was in need, when I was in my worst shape, my daddy would show up for me. He would always be there for me in the clutch. And when he got in his time where he finally needed me, because he never needed me, but when he got to the point where he finally needed me, I made sure I was there. I did. I made sure I showed up. I thank God I was able to reciprocate the love my daddy did show. It was a different type of love. It was aggressive love. It was, I want the best for you love. It was, you need to get yourself together type of love. It wasn't the compassion, the pat me on the back and tell me it's going to be okay. It was, son, you can do more. You need to do better love. That's what the kind of love my daddy showed me. And I appreciate it. And I was glad I was able to reciprocate that when he got close to the end up until he passed.